You're back again. I cannot believe you injured yourself again. You are never going to make progress unless you can get this under control. Powerlifting isn't an inherently injurious sport. You may be doing some things that are causing multiple injuries that are keeping you from progressing. Look no further, folks. Today, I have a video going over 3 things that are going to keep you away from Snap City so that you can make progress and finally put together a total that you are proud of. The first thing we need to touch on is low-hanging fruit, and that is your form or your technique on the big 3 lifts or on your accessories is subpar, and that is putting you in positions to fail. When I say subpar, I do not mean that your squat, bench, deadlift technique does not mimic the automatons that have the best technique in the world. That's not what I'm talking about. Technique, to a certain point, is individual. Let's define technique so that you don't catch yourself in a bad habit of trying to mimic your favorite influencer and putting yourself in dangerous positions because your body does not look and work like their body. Good technique, as I define it, and as I think a lot of coaches in the space define it, entails being able to move the most amount of weight or the weight that you have chosen to move on a given day as efficiently as possible while also being as safe as possible. So for example, I'm a low bar squatter. I can move a lot of weight in a very low bar position because I am strong in my low back, in my hips, and in my quads. However, if I maintain a super low bar position, I'm talking like a French squat, like super hinged over, the amount of distress that causes to my shoulder and to my elbow is not good for my overall development in the sport of powerlifting. So you could look at that and say good technique for me would be incredibly hinged over, incredibly low bar, but we have to take the broad view. This is a 3 exercise sport. This is not just a squatting sport. So good technique for me, although I lose a little bit of power, I'm able to gain more longevity by being a touch more upright, by rolling the bar a touch up on my back so that I'm not in a super low bar position. The way that you are going to get better is to find the positions that are going to help you move the most weight or the weight that you want to move efficiently and safely. So how do we do this? It takes some trial and error. I have gone through many different stance widths, bar positions, hand placement on my deadlift, grip width on my bench press. It takes time. What I would do is if you're used to a 4-week or a 6-week training block for your primary movement, so let's say primary bench press, you're usually first finger on the ring of the bench press. For a block, let's bring it into second finger and see if that solves some of your shoulder issues. If you are able to still move the same or similar weight as you learn this new technique, but now your shoulder doesn't hurt as much, ding, 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 bells should be going off. You have found a more efficient position to be in. So you can do this with every exercise, not just the big 3. You can also do this with your accessory movements because we want to be as safe and as efficient as possible. Take a shot every time I say safe and efficient. You'll be dead by the end of this video. Another great way to really refine technique is to have a coach that you can send form checks to. Utilize a service like Form Check Friday or these form checks on forums. You can join our Discord and use our form check service, but having other eyes on you, which means yes, you've got to start filming your lifts. If you're not filming your lifts, you're leaving everything up to chance. Unless you have a training partner standing right there next to you that can notice differences in a one viewing of a rep, you need to start filming your lifts so that you can have a library of technique and say, hey, when I did this, when I just kind of tweaked my body just a little bit like that, I got better movement. I felt better in the lift. I wonder what happened there. So then you can watch the video and you can actually see what's going on. The eye in the sky does not lie, as my football coach used to say. You want to film your lifts. Get over yourself. It's not about putting it on Instagram. It's not about making yourself a fitness influencer. It's about getting better. So no matter what any old head in the gym tells you, the activity of filming in the gym is not inherently wrong. If you use it poorly, then it can get you into trouble. But if you're using it to get better, dude, who cares what anybody says? Reason number 2 why you are always injured and never getting any stronger is because you do not respect adequate and appropriate loading protocols. That's right. I'm talking to you, 16-year-old who walks in the gym and maxes their bench press every day. You have to grow up. We have to be better than this. If you are pushing incredibly high intensities at all times in the gym, you are due for an injury. Of course, it's not a one-to-one comparison, and there may be Superman among us who can just push 95, 100%, 105% forever and continue to get stronger. But for us mere mortals, that is not how this works. You have to adequately understand loading parameters and how you are going to use those loading parameters to get better and stay safe. So now we need to dip into the ever-growing debate between percentage-based training and RPE-based training. But guess what? I don't have a side. I like both of them. Get your hate comments out of the way right now. You can't get me. I'm sitting right in the middle, baby. I'm a dirty centrist between percentage and RPE. Whatever you want to use as your loading prescription, you have to also understand that that loading prescription needs to take into account your recovery, how you are feeling on the day. It has to be intelligently designed. It can't just be, okay, week 1, we're starting at 40%, and then week 2, we're jumping 95%. This is not intelligent program design. So hopefully you're utilizing a coach that knows what they're doing, or at the very least, you are educating yourself on proper programming design so that you're taking adequate jumps week to week. You're going 60%, 65%, 75%, 80%. You have to make adequate loading parameters fit for your style. This is where I think RPE has a slight edge on percentages because it does take into account your feeling on the day. Now, this can be dangerous because if you're traditionally a lazy person, no judgment, but if you're traditionally going to take the easier road, then RPE might not be best for you because you will be continually undershooting. When we're talking about injuries, we can get into trouble in both places. It's not entirely just pushing high intensities that's going to cause an injury. Sometimes, even at lower intensities, we're going to cause an injury because it is a systemic thing. We can't just point to heavy weights as being injurious. That's not how this works. But if we prepare properly and we do the best we can to choose adequate loads on a session-by-session basis, I think that you will spend more time actually training and less time rehabbing. Our third and final reason why you are always injured is very similar to our second reason, and that is you are not taking time to recover. You're not sleeping. You are not eating the way that you should be. You're drinking too much. You're partying all night long. Listen, I'm not your dad, but if you're getting injured in the gym all the time and you've fixed your loading parameters and you've fixed your technique, guess what? You're definitely not sleeping enough. I can almost guarantee it. So, as your internet dad, I would just ask, please, please, please pay attention to your recovery. It is so incredibly important. It's the boring part of this sport, but it is what separates you from being mediocre to being actually pretty decent if you actually pay attention to your recovery. So how are we going to do that? Well, first and foremost, low-hanging fruit once again, we're going to actually go to bed. We are going to sleep between 7 and 9 hours a night. I don't care if you think that you can survive on 4 and you thrive being a night owl. Hey, me too. I love being awake at 3 a.m. But guess what? That's going to catch up with you. There are outliers for sure, but the majority of humans on this earth need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. It is so incredibly important. Please go to bed. If you're watching this video late at night, turn it off. Just go to sleep. I know you sitting there in your bed with your phone close to your face. The light of the sun is in your eyes. How are you going to sleep after this? Go to sleep. Go to bed now. Another thing we're going to focus on is actually paying attention to our nutrition. One of the bigger memes in powerlifting is that we just get to eat whatever we want because we're just trying to get stronger. I fell into that trap as well. That's how I got to be 330 pounds. But if we actually start to pay attention to the macronutrients, the micronutrients, the calories that we are intaking, our hydration status, we will start to find that, hey, I actually start to feel better. Maybe I can push myself a little bit more in the gym without having to worry about breaking my whole back. It's not a one-to-one comparison. Obviously, if you're hydrated, you may still get injured, but it's all about mitigating as much risk as possible. And these 3 tips are going to do that for you if you would just put them into practice. Putting them into practice is my bonus tip. It's so fun to watch these YouTube videos and feel like we're doing something to better ourselves, and then we close the app or we close the browser window and we immediately go back to doing exactly what we were doing in the first place. I'm guilty. Hands up, I am guilty. I do this all the time, but I encourage you, if you made it to this part in the video, man, we're what, 10 minutes in? That's crazy. Who has that attention span anymore? But if you made it this far, maybe you should actually put some of these tips into place and let me know how you go. Tell me in the comments. 3 months from now, I'm going to be checking. Did you actually do some of this stuff? Are you still injured? Are you getting stronger? I bet you're getting stronger. So folks, that's all I had for you today. I hope that you stop getting hurt. I know it can be terrible to get hurt. I've dealt with my fair share of injuries, nothing too catastrophic, but I've had some aches and some pains that have held me back from my fullest, strongest potential. So just know that I am sympathizing for you and empathizing with you if you are injured right now. It's going to get better. Stay the course. Do your rehab work. You will get back where you want to be. If you're looking for an intelligently designed program that's not going to put you in an injurious loading parameter, you can click on this video right here to watch some of our program reviews. There's some pretty good programs on there, if I do say so myself. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe, and join our Discord if you want to become part of a strength community that's going to get you stronger. Speaking of getting stronger, get strong and stay strong.